Hey everybody, my name is Gary Hibbert, and I used to be in the rat race. I worked 9 to 5. I worked for a very good company, six-figure income, and one day I woke up and I was like, I need to change my life. This is not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And the reason why is because I remember being at the water cooler and I said, man, I can't wait until I'm 65 years old. I can't wait till I retire. And I was like, wow, I really want to wish away that much of my life. And so I changed my whole entire life. Fast forward, I own a real estate investment club. I'm a real estate agent. I'm an owner of a real estate brokerage. And I mean, look, there's a lot of different moving pieces in my life now. But what I've realized is that I am in control of my life. At any single time, I can either succeed or I can fail. And I've just decided to be the one that is in charge and to succeed. Okay, so one of the things that, prior to the pandemic, I'm a real estate agent, and we were obviously taking clients out, looking at investment properties. But another big part of my business were these mastermind events. And so essentially we were in these large rooms. We would have investors come out. We would have guest speakers. We would have industry experts sharing their insights, sharing their knowledge, whether it be an accountant or a lawyer or other real estate investors. And once the pandemic hit, that completely changed. We completely had to shift. And so what I mean by that is that we couldn't go to these rooms anymore. We couldn't have these large meetings anymore. We had to go virtual. And so one of the things that we did was we used Zoom. And so now we were now having people that were finding us online through our advertising and having to do these mastermind events in these online settings, having to do fast start classes in these online settings, having to do the members only events in these online settings. So everything was now virtual. And it was a difficult shift because we had to completely do a 180, but we were open to it. We didn't complain. We were just, how do we do this? How do we move forward? And I can tell you, it was probably one of the best things, one of the worst things that's ever happened to us, but one of the best things that's ever happened to us, because we learned that anything is possible as long as you believe in what you're doing and know that there's always a way out of every single, we'll say, box that you're put into. And so we broke out of the box. And that's what we're always ready to do. And we'll always continue to do that no matter what gets thrown at us. So during the pandemic, obviously you saw that there was businesses that succeeded, there are businesses that got impacted, and there's obviously businesses that failed. And why I believe that the businesses that succeeded was they were able to think outside the box, and they pivoted and they did what they had to do. That's what true entrepreneurs do. I'll give you an example. A good friend of mine, he has a dance studio, and they pretty much completely shut him down. And so what he did was he went online. Very easily he could have said, you know what, we're going to fold, but he didn't. And he went virtual. He started doing dances online. And then every single day, if you follow his page, he's always doing some new dance move or some new twirl. And so what he's doing is he's showing people that even though this is the worst thing that could have happened to my business, I'm not going to let anybody dictate to me when I fail or when I succeed. And life always is, it's a choice. So you choose to be a victim or a victor. And so in that very simple example, he decided to be a victor. So how people or businesses can create a better outcome during a pandemic or during a crisis is I think you always have to be looking down the future, thinking about what potentially could happen, and think of it always like the worst case scenario. And what better time during a pandemic to reshape your business and to put in new things that if this was to ever happen again, how can you succeed? And so this now really comes down to pandemic proofing your life from your business standpoint, from your personal standpoint as well too, because this is also not impacted people from a financial aspect, but it's also impacted people mentally. And so if you're not mentally strong, if you don't have the right mindset, well, then it's very easy to fail. It's very easy to give up. And so, one of the things that I hear a lot of when I'm talking to people who are successful or reading their books or listening to their podcasts is a lot of times they'll say 95% of it is mindset and the other 5% is skill set. And so if it's so heavily weighted on the mindset, then I think you really need to pay attention to that and make sure that you're reading the right books, listening to the right podcast, or hanging out with the right people. They say, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you who you are. So during times like this that we're going through a pandemic, how can you sustain cash reserves, or how can you ensure that you've got cash flow that's always coming in? And so one of the things that I learned early on is that if you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And that was a quote from Warren Buffett. And so once I had heard that, and once I'd understood that, savers are losers, then I had to find a way to outpace inflation. And one of the best ways to do it is obviously understanding how to invest your money and where to invest your money. And one of the best places that I found, and I know there's obviously lots of different places you can do it, is doing it into hard assets. A great one that I do and have been doing for the last 12 years is real estate. If you know what you're doing in the stock market, obviously you can find companies that are doing well, pay dividends, and have good value. Obviously there's gold, there's silver, which is another one of my favorites. And I mean, with those two, it's just more of a bit of an insurance play. So you want to pay attention to that and kind of keep an eye on where things are going, especially with monetary policies and the printing of money. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that. And then Bitcoin. Bitcoin is obviously something that is making some headlines in the news lately. But I would say in the beginning, I think I kind of slept in a little bit, but there's definitely something there. And it could be something that I think a lot of people are obviously moving into. So pay attention to that as well too, right? All right, so how can people make the most out of times like this during a pandemic? And I think this is what it comes down to. There's a couple different things, and I'll go through them. So number one is don't just sit around and complain about your life, right? If you are not where you want to be, then change it. As simple as having an apple a day, right? Those results you're not going to see immediately, but over time, you're going to see those results, the small things that you do on a day-to-day basis make huge impact on your lives. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about sitting down and reading a book. I'm talking about listening to a podcast. I'm talking about, turning off the TV and not watching Netflix or your movies or your shows. And if you do turn it on, then make sure it's educational. Make sure that it's something that's feeding your mind. Because again, it's all about the mindset. It's all about whiteboarding and determining what your goals are, and then actually having a game plan to get to those goals. And so the larger your dreams, right, the harder it is for people to knock you off of your path, right? So dream big, always dream big. So one of the skill sets that I would say that I learned over the last several months during this pandemic is this, and I think this is super, super important, is with all of the information that's out there today, whether it be fake news or real news or Instagram or in Facebook or in CP24 or CNN or wherever it's coming from, right? So many people are not sure what to believe, right? And when you're not too sure what to believe, you start believing or start thinking that things are out of your control. Things are spiraling out of your control. But if you take the time to just go outside, take a look around, you'll actually realize that it isn't actually that chaotic. Things are still moving. Things are still happening. And so once I realized that and I understood that, I then realized that, well, instead of me now trying to look at things at a larger level, why don't I just focus on things that I can control? Things that are within my reach. Because then if I can control the world around me, the people around me, the smaller community around me, well, then I can live that much more of a better life. And so now I focus on the things that I can control, and that allows me to then wake up, design my day, and enjoy my day and not get caught up in all the hype and all of the news and the noise that are happening. So what can people do now, right now, if they feel like they're in a rut, or they feel down, or they feel depressed? And here's, I think, a really good tip, right? If you're going to write a book, that's a daunting task, right? Okay. What if you said, well, let me just write a chapter? That could still be a lot. How about a paragraph? How about just a sentence? And so then now if you break things down into bite-sized information, bite-sized tasks, that makes things so much easier. Here's an example. So now you're feeling a bit depressed. So you're probably missing some endorphins. And so how do you get that? What's the best way to get your body feeling good again? By working out. Oh, but who wants to work out? That's so daunting. That's so much work. So then what I do in the morning is I do micro workouts. So if I can't go to the gym, or I don't feel like I can put an hour in, how about I just do 2 minutes? How about I do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, do some stretches, start my day? That is how you can change your life. That's how you can get yourself out of depression. That is how you can get your mindset and your mentality right. All right, cool. Listen, guys, I hope that helped. Thanks for sitting down, taking the time to actually watch the video, listen to what I have to say. I hope it helped. I hope you can use some of it to apply it to your life. Not only that, if you found that it helped, share it, right? Because you know what sharing does? It allows it to sink in even more. And not only that, not only just share it, watch it again, repeat. And that's one of the things that I've done over the course of the years to really kind of solidify and allow me to be successful. And so I hope it helps you. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And I hope it helped, guys. Talk to you soon.